if you hear the washing machine in the background, sorry. Today I'm gonna be doing a makeup video, just kind of like a get ready with me. Let me just get my setup going here. I'm sitting on the floor in the kitchen. I like to use soap to set my brows instead of like a gel. So what I do is spray my little spoolie with water and get it wet. I use Pear's soap. It's transparent soap, and this looks really gross because this soap is like old, but I just kind of do that so it picks up some of the soap. It makes like a wet soapiness. Lately I've been using the Ulta Beauty matte cream eyeshadows, and these are like $8 or $12 each, and they're just really nice. I like them a lot. They help me with the creases in my eyes. It helps me get some color into the eye. I find using concealer or primers that brighten up the lid actually make it harder for me to build up colors. So having something with a tint is helpful. And my favorite shade is Game Over. I also like Throwback. That one's a cool toned, a little bit deeper. But I like this one just to kind of put a little color in my crease but not be super far off from my skin tone. Go ahead and show you. Kind of put it in the outer corner area. And then I have a angled kind of like fluffy brush. And I just use that to buff that into the eye and kind of create the shadow that I would like. Or sometimes I take it all the way up to the brow and just kind of have that wash of color in the crease, the whole lid. And depending on what I set this with, I could really kind of make it like super light, or I could set it with something a little bit darker and start building up color. I could do a few things, definitely a few things. So what I usually do, I just set this with this CoverGirl Advanced Radiance powder. This is the shade 125. And I do a couple other things in the crease just to kind of get ready for some eyeliner. I go ahead and take some of this neutral bronzer. This is the Butter Bronzer, and go ahead and just add that into like the inner part of the crease, kind of towards the nose a little bit. I like to contour my nose with this shade too. And then another thing I do is go in with a fluffy brush. This is the E27 from Morphe, and a little bit warmer color, and just kind of hit the outer part of the crease. A little bit of warmer shade. This just makes everything blend a little bit better and helps with anything that maybe wasn't blending as good, blend better. At this point, sometimes I go add a little bit more deeper of a shade into the outer corner. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of that right now. I'm just gonna use an old powder. If you watch like my first makeup video, yeah, I still have this. But this is the shade 360 in the Maybelline Fit Me powder, and I like to add this just like to the outer part of the eyeshadow just to kind of darken it, warm it up a little bit more, create a little bit more dimension. This is where I put like eyeliner, so I like to just make sure that I have like a good amount of powders in that outer corner. I have very hooded lids. It's a big reason why I like to do the cream shadow and why I don't do like super intricate looks these days, just because it just gets messy and I just rather it be blend, you know, a nice blend or whatever. Just adding this for some dimension, depth, and all that. But typically I wouldn't, especially if I wanted a little bit more of a natural look, I would just kind of let it be like super simple. Even though this is still like simple, just like a light wash of like bronzers, you know? Looks a little messy, and honestly the lighting is just a little, kind of look a little crazy and stuff right now. I will go ahead and clean up the look, the shadow and everything after I do eyeliner. So I typically do my I always do my eyeliner with eyeshadow. I just wet my liner brush and dip into a black eyeshadow. I feel like having a little bit of a wing today, so I usually start before the end of my eye to kind of give a lift to my eye. The fridge started making a noise. So yeah. Ooh. So I started in kind of at the middle. I'll like show you in a second. I gotta try to get this eye. I don't think you could tell. I love like how eyeliner and lashes really can kind of play up the shape of your eye or change, you know, the shape of your eye. I personally like to kind of make my eyes a little bit more uplifted. I've really been learning what I like, what I actually like on my face. I spent so much time doing makeup because of like a trend, because that was the way I learned it, and not really experimenting or like making sure like I like the way that my skin or my cheekbones or my eye shape like looks. So I've recently learned, you know, what I prefer and just like what makes me feel super bomb and all that. So it's a little messy, we're getting a little crazy here, and I'm gonna clean up with a makeup wipe. So I just kind of get anything up in the eye because I don't like eye boogers, you know. And then right here I just kind of try to meet with that part of the eyeliner that goes out, as well as clean up right under that part of the eye so that it's like more lifted. You could definitely have it like more out here or whatever, but I just find that this gives more of a lift. The other one definitely elongates it and looks nice, but I'm just going for the more wing, I don't know, I'm just going for the more upward wing, whatever. I don't know if you could tell, but part of the wings got like really short after cleaning it up. So this part I have to be pretty careful. Could easily kind of mess it up, but I'm gonna stay at the top of that liner and go ahead and just kind of wing it out a little bit more towards the brow, so we have a little something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mascara and lashes, and then we can move on to the face. I got the lashes on, and now it's time for some primer and some face makeup. So I always do my skincare before my makeup, whether it's hours before or right before, whatever. So I do, you know, a cleanser, a serum, sometimes a treatment, a moisturizer, and an eye cream, and then I will do my makeup. And usually pretty much every time I will use a makeup wipe to clean up under my eyes, and to kind of add a little bit more hydration back under the eyes, I go in with the Beauty Bakery Butter Primer. And this is just like a smoothing primer, and I like to add it right here, not a whole lot. I find that if I use too much primer, things get cakey or gummy, you know, like it like balls up. So I just do a little bit to smooth out underneath the eyes, and just kind of tap that in right here. And then one of my favorite types of primers is like a pore minimizing primer. So this is the Pacifica Hemp Blur Pore Balancing Primer, and I just like to add this to the center of my face. And then the other primer that I always like to add as well is an Illuminating Primer. I just love the way it makes my skin look dewy, even if I am putting some makeup on top of it. So I'm just using a L'Oreal one that I've had forever, but I like to try new ones a lot. And I just kind of dot this on the high points of my face. And I like to use this e.l.f. I believe it's a blush brush. It's pretty old, and I like to use this. It's kind of like a duo fiber stipply type of brush, and I just like to use that to kind of spread out this illumination. Sometimes I skip like concealer and powders and all that and kind of keep it like this. that's when I would probably do a little bit lighter on the eyes, maybe not a winged eye, just a little shadow and lash, and then kind of just glow up my skin like this. But I'm gonna go ahead and just do the full look today. I like to use It Cosmetics CC cream. This is the shade Light, and I'm using the sample bottle, so I'm like almost out, so hopefully I can get some out today. So I don't really have any left, unfortunately. I'm just gonna go ahead and add what I can to the cheeks, but really not much there. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add a little bit of this Tarte shape, or this Tarte face tape, and I'm only gonna add some to the chin and a little bit more to the cheek area. I thought this was like the concealer sample, but it's the foundation sample. I just like to spread this over the cheeks, a little bit by the temples, and just like kind of the center of the face. So just that right there really helps even out my skin tone. I don't know if you could tell because I really don't know how the lighting is like looking throughout this video, and hoping for the best, but yeah, this just really kind of tones down any blemishes I have, and then just kind of evens everything out so it looks a little bit more perfect, flawless, whatever. But if you can't tell, there's still a little bit of that glow underneath because I didn't put it like all over. But slowly but surely, we're gonna get to quite a bit of product. So next, for my eyes, I like to go in with this Smith & Colt concealer. This is in the shade 200 Neutral. And it's a little bit dark for like my cheeks and like even to brighten the eyes, but I like to use this just a little bit where I have shadows under my eyes. I find that not using a super brightening shade actually helps neutralize it, something a little bit more, you know, yellow toned. So this one has actually been working really well, and I like to use this before I go in with like the more brightening, neutralizing type of concealer. But this just will kind of go ahead and start to get rid of that shadow. I always try to make sure it's blended around that nose area. I don't really ever put product right there. I just kind of like bring a little bit of coverage there, if that makes sense. So now, before the final under eye concealer, I'm going to go in with a little bit of cream bronzer. And I like to use the Fenty cream bronzer. This is in the shade Honey Glaze, and it's definitely kind of warm. It's not the best shade for my skin tone. It's a little dark and a little warm, but if I don't go too heavy-handed, then I can make it work. So I love this Milani brush. It's the Kabuki fan brush, and I just dip in a little of the bronzer and then just kind of add some color into the cheek and temple area. And I don't really like try to contour or anything. It's just more of like a bronze, kind of just giving life back to the face. This also just makes adding bronzer powder a little bit easier, because you're not just one huge washed out canvas. You are, you know, kind of got some depth and dimensions in the face with a little bit of the bronzer. Just makes it a little bit easier. Sometimes I go like in the cheek area just because I add a lot of blush right there anyways, just a little like that. So I don't know if you could tell, it's really not super like defined or anything, just a little bit of color. But since I am a little bit of a perfectionist, I do like to take a little bit of the concealer just to create like a line under like the cheeks. So I just take the foundation brush and just kind of go straight. I don't really like create any curve or anything. I just go straight with that line that I had created, and it just creates a little bit more. Sometimes I like to take a small brush and get into the cream bronzer. I have a very prominent like Cupid's bow, so I like to just shade where that Cupid's bow is at times, and it just kind of makes it look a little bit more like lifted. I don't really know what it is. It kind of will emphasize my scar on my lip, but I kind of just like the way it makes the lips like look. It just kind of like changes the dimension a little bit. And then since there is like a little bit of a bronziness now going on, I just kind of go over it with anything excess. So I'm going to go ahead and blend out the under eye concealer before it gets super dry. But letting the concealer sit for a little bit, especially if it is like a high coverage or something that you don't want to be super creasy, it will kind of dry it down so that it just makes it not crease as much. I'll go ahead and take that foundation brush one more time and just kind of go over so that there's no like harsh lines anywhere. Everything just looks pretty seamless. For my under eye setting, I'm going to use the Essence My Skin Perfector Loose Fixing Powder Instant Blur Effect Natural Matte Finish. This is in the shade Light. Tap it into the cap, get rid of any excess, and go ahead and set. I really like the Pat McGrath setting powder, but right now this is what I'm working with. I like to kind of do a light little dust. Like, I don't really pick up any excess powder, but just kind of whatever's on the brush, just kind of hit the center of the face so nothing creases. And then to set the rest of the face, I'm going to use Revlon Photo Ready Blurring Powder, and this is in light medium. For a little shaping and bronzing, I'm going to go in with that matte and poreless Maybelline shade and just kind of add some of that color into the cheek. I just like to kind of look sun-kissed and healthy and stuff. And then after that, I go in with no product on this fluffy brush from Real Techniques and just kind of blend, make it like even more soft. And then I go in with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer to do a little bit of contouring right here and the nose. So go ahead and hit the tip of the nose, kind of get the flares of the nose, like the bottom of the nose. I'll go ahead and kind of squeeze it and get that side of the nose. I like to go kind of towards the center. Some days I have like a better nose contour day than other days, and I'm like I like slim it down more, or I just do like a good shape than other days. So next I'm gonna just buff a little bit of eyeshadow underneath my lower lash line, just that same like neutral shade. Next is blush time. So I'm gonna use the Blush Malo blush, and this is the shade Dolly Peachy, and it's like an orangey red shade. I like to just like dip twice into it and kind of do one side at a time. I like to kind of start at the temple area, the upper cheekbone area. It just makes it a little bit easier to blend in, and then I usually bring it into under the eye and kind of towards the nose, the center of the face. I just like this look. It just kind of gives, like, to me, kind of a natural look and youthful and like cute. For highlight is the Juvia's Place Highlighter Volume 3. This is like the perfect shade for me. It's not too light or dark. It's super shiny. So I like to just add this to the cheekbones. I use this highlighter like every day. And the Juvia's Place, they have other highlighters that look really good. This one was only $6. This highlighter is so good though that you can go a little ham. So it's not for the weak-hearted, it's not for the light-hearted. Sometimes I put a little bit too much, and then I'll just try to blend it out with some of my like powder brushes and bronzer. And the last thing is a little bit of mascara for the under eyes. Sometimes I don't do this. Alrighty, well, that is the look for today. I honestly don't know how the like lighting looks and stuff. I'm thinking that hopefully once it's like put on the computer, everything looks normal. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this look. If you do want to see more makeup videos or something of that nature, please feel free to leave a request or a suggestion down below. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm sending you all the love and all the good vibes, and I'll catch you in my next video real soon. Peace out. Bye.